one time I posted I was at a concert, and so one of the agents commented like, "Oh, you're always out. Why aren't you more focused on, door knocking and cold calling?" And I said, I was at a concert with my client or something. And they said, "Oh, you go to concerts with your clients?" I'm like, "No, my client was performing. I'm interacting with my clients. I'm supporting their craft."
Talking mortgages in the dead of night. Lion of loans, podcast roars, financial wisdom from the core. Lion of loans, knocking on your door. James McKibben gonna teach you more. Breaking down.
Hey guys, how are you? It's James McKibben here, the Lion of Loans. We're excited today to talk about real estate, mortgage, and just life in general. Newport Beach. I'm here with Jen Castaneda from the Openheim Group. Very excited to have her on the show today.
Thank you.
And so, welcome aboard. So I've known Jen for about 5 years. We met through a roommate of mine. And when I found out she was in real estate, and I just had to meet her. I had to talk to her. So I think within a couple of months, I went to dinner with yourself, and at that time, Chris, your now ex-husband, who's also in real estate. And so I guess, I always want to know, because we see these teams, of like husband, wife, or these partners, and we have to work so much. There's so much stress. We talked about it a little bit before, but would you suggest somebody works through your own personal experience with a partner or their own family member? I want your take on it, because there's people out there that probably have this occurrence where they're like, do it, don't do it. So
I would say absolutely don't do it. If you don't have to, don't do it. I feel like, was it the only factor that contributed to everything? No, but it adds so much stress, especially when you're in the same role.
Yeah.
Like if somebody was in a different role in real estate, then it might work out a little bit better, because you can complement one job, can complement another. Like you can send each other referrals. You don't spend all day together. So a lot of times we would be on the same transactions together. Yeah. So we'd be spending all day together, see each other at night. Too much.
So like you get home and you've talked about this deal all day, and then you get home and it's like, okay, let's talk about the deal some more.
Right, we have the same stress. So usually couples will share like stress of their day, and that does affect a relationship. But when you have the exact same stress, or when you have the stress of just the market, the changes in the market, both of you are stressed at the exact same time.
That makes sense. I think for me, I've been doing loans for about 19 years. I've never seen it be so hard. So when I get home, a lot of times I just want it to be quiet. Like I watch TV, I watch a lot of real estate, which we're going to talk about since you work at the Openheim Group, which is one of the best, obviously, real estate shows. And so I want to hear about that. But I know what you mean. When I get home, like I don't want to talk to a lot of people, because I have a job all day where I'm fighting for deals, trying to save deals. I'm up early. And so I think that makes sense. I think to your point, if I was in, like myself being in mortgage, someone in real estate or in title or in escrow, you kind of complement referrals.
Right.
But you're not almost like, did it almost get competitive at times?
It did. And then just figuring out like, who's bringing in more deals, or who's going to be on this deal. Are we both going to be on every deal together? Yeah. Are we both putting in the same amount of work for it? Or kind of just like balancing that work, because you take each other for granted sometimes, because this is somebody that, you have around 24/7. So that got a little bit competitive, or, is everybody pulling their weight the same?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that makes sense. I think, so I know a lot about you. I know that you started your real estate career in Beverly Hills, and now you're in Newport Beach. So 2 amazing cities. And you went from Nest Seekers Beverly Hills to, I think, Douglas Elliman Beverly Hills. You worked in an office that had the Josh Altmans, all these big name people. And then you went to Compass Newport Beach at one point down here before you went to Openheim Group. So those are 4 amazing companies. You seem so happy now at your location. I guess just what brought you to Orange County? Maybe give kind of a high level at each company, because I'm always curious like what the support level is like at a Compass versus an Openheim Group, both phenomenal companies. So just kind of walk through maybe your transition to Orange County and just company to company.
I came to Orange County in 2020. So of course, things were during the pandemic in LA very stressful. I lived in Hollywood. There was a lot going on in Hollywood at that time. So we decided, let's move away for 1 year and come back to LA. So my plan was to leave LA for 1 year and come back. I still to this day love LA. I didn't want to leave. I was actually a little bit sad to leave when I did and thought, is this the right decision? Like, why am I going? And then it turns out I'm on, I think it's been 4 years, almost 5 years that I've been in Newport now. And I love it. I still love LA, but I love it. So yeah, it's like, it turned something that was like a little bit disappointing to leave to like, I would have never discovered Orange County. I don't know if I would be at the Openheim Group. I don't know if, it would have led me to all of this.
I mean, you seem so comfortable here. Like when I met you from my old roommate, it just seemed like you'd lived here forever. You had such a big following. I think my perspective of you is you're so nice. Everyone likes you and you're so inviting. Hey, I'm having a party, come. It's which I love. A lot of people in real estate in general can be a little closed, like you're almost closed off or like a little bit like territorial, but I like that about you. So that's a compliment to you. I like going to LA. I go up there for business a lot, but once you come to Orange County, it's kind of hard to leave. It's so safe. And again, LA's amazing. Love it up there. But I can see why you stayed.
It's just like, I didn't realize that it was going to have such this, to me, I call it like a small town feel because everybody knows each other. And LA doesn't have that, of course. LA has a lot of people that are in and out. So I didn't even realize that was, the kind of life here. I didn't realize that I was just going to fall into it and not ever want to leave. So that's what I love about Orange County, about Newport specifically. So yeah, and a lot of people in LA still think like there's probably not anything to do there. Like aren't you bored? And I feel like I have more to do here than I ever even did in LA.
Yeah. I mean, you have the prettiest beaches here, restaurants. I mean, some of the key cities that I would call key cities. I love everywhere in Orange County. I do loans. If someone says, hey, this city, you go, yes. They go, I just know everywhere, but it's pretty amazing here. So obviously you worked with your husband and you guys broke up. And so was it hard to get into real estate on your own without having a partner for so long? I know you kind of answered it, but was it, or was it just like, I'm free, it's all my decision?
Well, I had started real estate on my own originally. And so I was used to that. And I feel like when I transitioned back to it, it was almost better. It was like a lot less stress. It was, I can be independent. I didn't have to consult with anybody about, what we're going to do for this plan, this transaction. I can just, it was a lot less stress.
I can relate to that. Sometimes I have teammates, I love them all, but sometimes I almost have to give them work every day and I'll ask them to do 5 things and they do 2. And it starts to wear on me because if it doesn't get done, I'm not saying this was your situation,
right?
Then I have to do it. And I'm still paying that person where I'm just like, it starts to wear on you where there's almost animosity a little bit because I do things so fast, so competitively. If it's 8 o'clock at night, Sundays, the holidays, I don't care. I'll just do it. People are so set in their ways, and that's just not mortgage or real estate. Everyone knows that works with me. I always say, just consider it done. Like, I'll just do it right now. I don't care if I'm at a party, at a New Year's party, on a boat. I'll just get out my phone and be like, hey guys, I need 20 minutes. And so for me, obviously not with a spouse, but so even with teammates and stuff, some things wear on me because they almost pull you down a little bit. And you have to have a team, but when I think what you said before is kind of just like, now it's all you. You don't have to worry about doing more work in general, maybe at times.
Right. I feel like I agree with that. It kind of sometimes would cause more work. It would cause more stress, more work instead of just, getting it done myself and, or having to check in like, okay, is this done? I want to make sure because always, the client's my priority and I want to make sure that I maintain that reputation. Yeah. So, now I'm trying to, rely on somebody else to do it. So I'd rather, just get it done myself. So I feel like going back and just doing things on my own even just brought me a lot more confidence again.
I mean, I love that. And then also if you're talking to a client and they want you, but you have to kind of let people do work because you have a team, you have to trust your team. I would get a little worried at times. You're going to have great people now, and I've had great people, but sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I should just make this call. So that makes sense.
Exactly.
So if we look at, you're on season 4 now in the office. I know that the Orange County office is about a half mile from our office right now in our studio here. And I know season 3 aired about a year or 2 ago. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But that's got to be exciting. Is there kind of a buzz on like, hey, season 4 just got renewed, I believe, right?
Right. It just got announced that season 4 is renewed, so that's fun. There was a little bit of a break in between.
Yeah.
But it's definitely fun, a fun add-on to be able to be a part of it and to be able to see it happening. It keeps it entertaining. I always say that it keeps life entertaining.
Yeah. See, for me, like most people know this, but fun fact about me is all I watch is real estate TV. Like, it may sound kind of weird, but I don't watch a lot of sports anymore. I watch a little bit just to know enough about them. I know a lot about sports, but for me, like, I watch so much real estate, not just the Selling Sunset, Selling the OC, $1 Million Listing. I watch shows on like the East Coast, on like home fixing shows, and like I watch all these shows. And so I get excited about it kind of as a fan. And I get to also see people like locally because they're all living right around here at events and stuff. So I get excited for you guys. So congratulations on that. Thank you. Let me ask you as well, when you have a client, whether it's a buyer or a listing agent, do they kind of comment to, hey, do I have access to Jason, or do I have access to, I'm just curious, like, obviously maybe it depends on the person, or do they also not want to be so, in the spotlight? Do they want to be a little bit quieter? Because people probably have both, right?
I have both. Yeah, I have clients that both, or sometimes they'll assume that they have to be in the spotlight if they're going to list with us, or if I'm going to represent them as a buyer. Yeah. And for us, it's like real estate first. All of that is secondary. And so most of our transactions are, you would experience it just like you would anybody else at any other brokerage. And we never force anybody to be in the spotlight, even if they have, say, the most gorgeous home that's show worthy. Yeah. If they're not interested in having it on, we would never push that on the client. But then again, I do have clients that do want to be a part of that do want that access, or that say, hey, can I speak with Jason? Can Jason be on this? Yeah. So we do have, and that's it's a lot more accessible than people think. Like, I had a client request that, and I'm going on a listing appointment, and it's a pretty big listing, a pretty good one. And do you think Jason would come? And of course he did.
He probably loves that call too. He's like, when is it? Let's go.
Exactly. No, he was so he was available. He was happy to go. So a lot of times they think, oh, he might be too busy, or he might not be involved in anything. But if he's requested, he can definitely be involved.
That's awesome. I mean, I think what I've taken from Jason and Brett and some of those guys is they're really smart. They're really good.
Oh, yes.
And it's not easy to be on camera. It's not easy to be running like a whole media side of things, plus opening up new offices. Because I think right now you guys have Orange County, LA, San Diego, I think Cabo. Cabo. So there's 4 offices.
Yes.
Okay. And with the brand name being so loud in your face, in a good way, I think Selling Sunset was the #1 show on Netflix for a couple of years.
Yeah, it usually, when it gets launched, it usually reaches #1.
That's incredible. Yeah. Netflix is obviously like, who even has regular TV anymore? I mean, I guess I do, but it's still a way you can always just find your show right away. They have the best stuff on it. And so, I mean, do they want to keep expanding? Like, I'm thinking, I don't know, of course, maybe you don't know, but like Las Vegas or Seattle, or I know, because the brand name is so strong, right? And it just has this, kind of cachet of luxury and just, beautiful things, beautiful homes. Just like your photo and your print is so great on your properties. Like, you can literally go on there and it's like, it's all art the way it looks.
Right.
I mean, I look at it and the houses are just amazing. So do you know if you want to keep expanding, or?
I feel like Jason's considered it, but it feels like he wants to keep it more like boutique, a smaller, like a family. So with it, I think he doesn't, want to, have this corporate company where we don't all know each other. So when we say it's like a family, it really is. And we all know each other. Somebody could give me a name and I'll say, of course I know that person. So it's like when we have that dynamic where we can actually know each other, I think it creates such a different team, such a different environment. So I think he balances it. I started when we only had 2 offices, and we definitely had, I think, even under 50 agents total.
Yeah. So, what is it now? Is it 100 or?
And now there's about, I think, an average of 30 per office, except for Cabo is a little bit smaller.
Yeah. I saw the episode when they went to Cabo and seeing those houses. It's kind of cool because it kind of gives you like a look into real estate that you don't know that well. Right. Obviously, Cabo is very Americanized. It's a 2-hour flight from LA, give or take, so it's very easy to get to. And it's a quick drive to every hotel. But some of those houses were amazing. 25, 30 million. They're just beautifully done. The views, the Mirandas. Yeah. So it's really cool to see that.
Yeah.
As a viewer.
Right. Yeah. And as even just being involved in it, it's really cool to have that aspect of something different, like, or how real estate is done in another country. Like, we have access to those agents, and we've called because we have, maybe I've had a client that has a home in Mexico and says, I want to list it. What can I do? And, you know, of course, we need somebody with that expertise, and we have quick access to that and say, hey, this is what we would recommend. Or they might know somebody, they have referrals, you know, all throughout Mexico. They only cover, you know, Cabo, but they have, you know, referrals throughout the entire country.
It's just such good marketing, you know. It's just, I mean, just watching the show, it really glamorizes it. But then there's so much substance behind it with how good all of you are in the office. And I've had the pleasure to meet 5 or 6 or 7 agents in there. You guys are just amazing. You're just all top shelf, all seasoned. You know, you're always professional. So I love coming into your events.
We have like such a good team, such a good like support system. I feel like a lot of people, when they see our marketing, don't realize it's done by a couple people. And that's maybe why it's not, you know, expanded into something more corporate, because we're just so specialized in that marketing and so specific. So they like, you know, so it really strengthens the brand that way. Yeah.
You know, for me, being in mortgage for so long, like, I get a lot of deals that come in, and loans are so hard today. Every deal is so complex. It's so competitive. It's so timely. Like, I have to work on a deal. Like I was saying, it's, you know, today's Sunday. I got a deal a couple hours ago. I worked on it right away. I'll have to work on it tonight. So I'm so in the deal. I have to jump on it, even with the team. But I will say, you guys bring kind of the fun back to real estate as well, which I think it should be. You know, I look at a lot of Excel spreadsheets and mortgage systems, which, yes, I'm kind of a mortgage nerd. But I remember back in the day when I first got started, the events were so fun, and we kind of got away from that a little bit. We just did, you know. And so you guys have the best events. If you've never been to an Openheim Group event, you definitely have to go, or you're really not living. Like the Christmas walk and just some of the cool events that I've seen you at the last year. Beautiful homes, cater, just everyone's friendly, and just, you know, business is being done. So do you love going to the events as well as an office, you know, working in the office? Is that one of your favorite things to do?
It is. It definitely is. It's something that I do look forward to. Sometimes it is this. It's funny, on an event day, a lot of us are calling each other, and we have this added stress. I mean, stress that we like, of like, what are you going to wear to the event today? Like, what time are you getting there? Like, I'm trying to, you know, stop and get an outfit on the way and all kinds of stuff. So we definitely do enjoy it, just because it's like, it's fun to put them together and to create this lifestyle, to create this experience for people. So even putting them together and then experience it with our friends and clients, like it's such a fun thing that we can offer. That, you know, most other places, I mean, I can't name any other brokerage that really offers that experience.
I totally agree. I mean, so like for me, I like to kind of bring the fun back, even though, like I said, I'm always looking at a computer. I have 3 screens up. I have my headset on all day, but I went out and got a boat and a Sprinter, because I was like, you know what? I want people to have fun. I want to be able to, I still have a long way to go in my career. If I'm going to LA or Palm Springs for work and I can bring 3 teammates, I want to do it, you know? And that's what Jason does too. I know, and your group in general. I see you guys on boats and in Sprinters. And so it's really cool.
We actually do live a lifestyle that people see on TV. So it's really funny when I experienced it, I thought like, wow, you know, I was one of those people that thought like, okay, maybe it's just for TV, but we really like
it's real.
It's real.
So I have a question too. So I'm always curious, if you were in a relationship and you were working and you partnered for so long, you essentially relocated with your ex-husband, who I know and have a lot of respect for, of course, but went from LA to Orange County, and you're trying to work, you're in a new space, you're in a new office, going from Compass to the Oppenheim Group, the O Group, we'll call it. You know, how is it dating? Are you able to date? Are you just glued to work, or do you kind of balance the two? Is it hard to date guys that know you're in such a highly televised, you know, location, and you have so much exposure to, you know, events, parties, you know, higher level stuff? What's that like?
I feel like I do go through phases where I do focus on dating more than other times. Sometimes, yes, I am so consumed with my work or with events and things happening. In terms of dating, I feel like a lot of people have a fascination with it, especially if, you know, they've watched the show or they like it, or a lot of times they're like, oh, my sister loves it, my mom loves that show, and they feel a connection to it. So they do have a fascination with it, and then also a fascination with the lifestyle. Like watching it happen and saying, oh, wow, it is really like it is on TV. And they want to, of course, be invited to events and things like that. But after a few, even weeks sometimes, I feel like some people get uncomfortable with it. They get uncomfortable with, okay, now you're always going to be out. Why wouldn't, you know, It does, and I can see why. I can see why it creates that, and in what they see on TV. So they see things on TV like people, within the office,
scandals, the little things.
Exactly. Everybody has seen that in the past, seasons, and people see that and say, "Hey, is that how you guys really are?
Yeah.
Are you guys really that close? Are you guys really a little too close?" So, they get uncomfortable and say, "Hey, why don't you go to something traditional, a traditional brokerage? Why don't you be more of a
where
traditional?"
It's not so highlighted in the TV space per se.
And I feel like for me, it's like such a fit. Like this whole having this job that is my life, having it as part of my lifestyle is such a fit for me, and I love it. So I don't want to change it, but I have been asked that a lot, or asked hey, if I get in a relationship with you, I don't want you to be working there. And I thought, wow, you were so happy about it. It was almost a conversation starter when you met me. It was and then they changed their minds.
Initially they're basically hey, when's our next event? I want to go with you, because they want that little element, because there's a lot of cameras flying. When we go to them, usually 2 or 3, but if it's an actual filmed event, there's 10 or 12. There'll actually be sometimes a station where they're all kind of, because I've been to events where they film with you guys. I've been to $1 Million Listing filming. I've been to Orange County Housewives, and there's a lot going on. And it turns out great. Everyone, I have the highest respect for them because they're talented. It's not easy to be on camera, like I said. You always have to be on. I think they say, isn't it filming 6 months a year to film a show? Is that kind of right?
Yeah, I think each season, it's between 4 and 6 months. I even lose track. I feel like we just kind of just keep going with it, but
And it's all it can be early morning, weekends, nights, because it's kind of whenever the lighting and whenever schedules align. It's you're all...
whenever they figure it out. So and sometimes it's long hours, or it's we blocked out a certain time of the day, 4 p.m. and they say, no, actually we're going to start at 6 p.m. So now it's the whole schedule. So when you're dating somebody, you're okay, well, I can't go, or you can't come to this event because it's filmed and they're not allowing it. So that makes them, so uncomfortable.
They feel kind of blocked. They feel excluded.
Right. Yeah. So, and there are times like that where it's okay, agents only, or these specific agents only are invited to this event that's being filmed. And so, when they don't feel like they can be a part of it, now they feel uncomfortable with what's happening at these kind of events.
That makes sense, I guess. I guess it just takes the right person to be happy for you, go when they can go, and just be happy when they're there. Right. Or support you from afar, I guess. Yeah. Not to get too personal or put my own thought in it, but I guess that's kind of the gist of it.
I feel if I was on the other side, I probably might be uncomfortable with it too. Yeah. Especially from what you see even on the storylines. That's especially because of that. Because if it was something that was more like $1 Million Listing, where it was about drama within agents, but here I don't know, it's such a personal, they show a lot more people's personal lives. Yeah. And so I
mean, I think that's what people, one, you have beautiful homes, you have talented people, but the drama within, it always keeps you on the edge of your seat a little bit. You kind of want to know what's going to happen, because it's, other people watching it have those same real life problems. So it's very relatable, I think. And it's just filmed so well. It just looks fantastic.
Right. It looks every time I watch it, wow, I live there. I live here. I see these homes. This is my life.
That's why,
even when I watch it, wow.
I totally agree. And that's why I like to watch the ones in Orange County and LA, because I go to all the places and you see it on TV and it's hey, and so they kind of highlight the cool spots, in a sense, or where it's fun to go. That makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like that never gets old, but seeing spots that you go to, or seeing just the beautiful beaches and the beautiful homes. And I'm wow, how do I never get tired of this? This
totally
is crazy.
Agree. Yeah. Do you think it helps or hurts an agent? Let's say one of the actual cast members that is filmed and followed around, shows their personal life. Do you think it helps their business with clients, or hurts? I guess it's probably both, but I mean...
Probably both, because I think some clients might be very uncomfortable with it, with somebody so much in the spotlight, or maybe they know too much about them. So I think some clients may be turned off by it, and some clients actually like it, and they're very entertained by it. I have a lot of friends that are entertained by it and say, I would still have you as my realtor, even though, not that I'm fully on the show, but just that I'm involved in all of this kind of stuff, and this whole scene. So so I guess it depends on the client, and then it also depends on the specific agent and how they brand themselves.
Sure.
Separate outside the show. And there's some agents that focus on it and some that don't. Some that maybe don't focus on branding themselves as, you know, a serious realtor in addition to being on the show. And I think that's a tough balance though, because when do they have time for that? Yeah. Or how do they figure out how to create that persona of like, I'm entertaining, I'm real on the show, but I'm also a professional. Yeah.
See, I always think from afar, like obviously I'm not on the show, I do mortgages, but I always think if I look at like $1 Million Listing, you have David and James, right, who are on the show, and from what I can see, I mean, they're fantastic, but their careers blew up, you know, and they left the show. Same with like Madison Hildebrand. I don't know much about like them on the show versus leaving the show, but I always think it's so much exposure because there's millions of people watching every episode. That's more than Instagram. That's more than most people have for followers, or if you can't send out 1 million, you know, magazines that have you on. It's so much exposure, and it kind of highlights them because real estate agents are almost like celebrities today. They really are. Like, like you go to the, you know, like Ralph's and you see someone on a shopping cart. You go to Instagram. It's done so well. Yeah. And there's so much on camera. And so I always think it would help people. But then you see someone like Josh Altman who just announced leaving $1 Million Listing, and he was arguably the main character, you know? So it's like, I always think like, like why would he leave? There's so much, but I guess he's so busy. Because people still want him. They still want him. And I did a presentation with him, or I should say, I actually like announced him on stage for an event about 6 years ago. And he came from filming, and I talked to him after. He was going back to film. So it is very time consuming, and he still has to show homes and negotiate deals. Yeah. Again, so it's like, you're basically always working, you know.
And he did that for, I don't know, I think at least 10 years. Like, yeah,
I think he started in season 3, $1 Million Listing. And so season 3 or 4. Yeah. But yeah, that was like 2009, 10-ish, I believe. I could be off by a year. But that's good feedback. I mean, I think when you're on a show for so long as well, you already kind of been seen in the spotlight where they kind of still know you as like being on there. We've already kind of grown with that side of like the media following you and on TMZ, or because it all kind of overlaps, you know?
He's already pretty much like set, and he will always be known and always be like set for the rest of his career. So maybe at this point he, you know, I think he said something about balancing it with his family time. Yeah. And so I guess, he has enough exposure. He has enough of, you know, of a client base that, you know, why does he need to put in so much more time? I can't imagine like having that to balance, you know, kids in a marriage, and, you know, I can barely balance my own career that doesn't necessarily include, you know, all of that.
Totally. I mean, I applaud everybody, because like if I had to film for 5 hours a day, there's not 30 hours in the day, and I wouldn't be able to sleep. So like, again, I have the highest respect for everyone that goes on TV. I think they're incredible, you know? So you've been at the O Group for a while. Who would you say in the LA office or in the Orange County office, who are kind of your closest friends? Are you able to share?
I feel like, I can share. I feel like it's gone back and forth a lot. I mean, of course, everybody, all the viewers do see all.
Let's talk about LA first, because that was the original Office on Sunset, season 1. I think it was Chriselle on TV. Like there was this new show, and I was like, what is this? $1 Million Listing was already popular. Right. And then you guys came into the mix, and it was like, boom, in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. When I started, the show had already been out, I think, for a couple seasons, maybe at least 4 seasons. I started about, like 3-4 years, almost going on 4 years. Yeah, it's been a while. 3 or 4 years. But I would say in LA, I don't get to see them very often. I would say I talk to Nicole a lot. Nicole from Selling Sunset. Yeah. She's great. She's very she's very focused on real estate. So we do talk a lot about real estate. We'll check in with each other, or even just talk to each other about what, you know, we posted. Dogs. Yeah. We like to talk about dogs. Oh, yeah. Just normal things.
So I love pets. I had a dog for a long time. My dog passed away. It was horrible. It was like the hardest month of my life. It was about 2 months ago. I'm still like, can't look at pictures. It's pretty hard. So I relate to that. And you guys are big, like in the puppy world, because I know Jason and the team. Oh, yeah. Have a lot of events.
He's all about, you know,
was it Nico and Zelda? Was it Nico and Zelda? I'm sorry to be such a.
And Nico, they showed on the last season, that he had a whole funeral for Nico. Like he's very attached to his dogs. Mary, and so shares them with Mary, and they're very, very, like, those are their children. Like, for me, the same. So we all relate to each other on that.
He even wrote a poem about his dog. Not to get too, like, yes, I watch a lot of real estate. I have a good memory. My memory's pretty good, so I remember like their names. Anyways, that makes me sound like a real, crazy, real estate TV freak. But like, I know. Yeah. But Yeah, like you see that a lot in West Hollywood, like the Vanderpump. They have like the Vanderpump pet stuff, and like so it's just cool to be a dog lover.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of us are very much into that. So we connect on that. So just sometimes it's like beyond everything else or the events and things like that. Yeah, we connect on like just real, regular, everyday stuff.
Yeah, Nicole's great. I've never met her, but she's amazing on the show. I know she was one of the OGs back in the day. Yeah. Like when the office first opened, when they went in there, like way back when. And I think there was an event that Mary had about 6 months ago. It got sent to me, and I asked you. I think you went to. Wasn't it a book signing or something?
Yes. Actually, she had a book signing here in Orange County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's great. Everyone comes together. So you guys really are like a family.
Yeah, we do actually. Yeah, we are a family. We do support each other. We do have, we do have the drama. It comes with the drama because it's just like real family.
Yeah.
I always say that. It's exactly like real family. You have the cousins that, you're really close with, and you have the cousins that you're a little more distant with, or that person's coming to Thanksgiving, like, so it's like that in within our office too, because, it goes back and forth. It always changes. And I know your question was of like, how, the dynamic changes all the time.
Sure.
Who I was best friends with, 3 years ago is definitely not the same.
That's just life though. In my company or own family members or what have you, you just kind of drift, all in a good way. It's just things happen. Maybe you have a deal together or something in common. What about in Orange County? What about in your office, which is right here, half a mile away? Like, do you have a couple people that you're closest with there?
Yeah. And I feel like it definitely always changes, even within, depending on what's going on in our lives, depending on, just a lot of things. I feel like when I started, I was connected to different people, definitely a whole set of different people that we no longer even speak, really. I mean, when it comes to business, yes, I always have this where I will do business with, anyone, be respectful of like, we're professionals, so we have to. So yes, I'll call them and say, hey, do you have an off market? Do you have this? Or I have somebody for, I might have a buyer for your upcoming listing. Yeah. So yes, so when it comes to business, all of that. But when it comes to our personal lives, sometimes we, go back and forth with that. And there has been, since I see the OC agents a lot more, there is a lot more, tension there. Yeah. And so it's Well,
it sounds like a great working environment. I do a lot of real estate, presentations to teams. I get asked to go over all of Orange County and LA. And one thing I found, same within mortgage, like this is the office I oversee, and on a day when it's a non-meeting day, we maybe have one or two people. Like no one goes to office, it's like no one goes to offices anymore. It's just we don't see it. Maybe they live 30 minutes away. They can work at home. They have their computers. They have their laptops. Since COVID, it's been really just allowed. And so my question is, with your office, it's such a cool location. It's the old Hobie store. It's right in the middle of Corona Del Mar. Huge space. On a day when there's no filming, there's no meetings, is it empty? I'm curious. Do people go in?
There are usually a couple agents there. There's some, like you're saying, some that really love to go to the office. I mean, it is a cool office. Every time I go in there, I always remind myself, like, why don't I come in here more often? Because I do tend to work from home a lot. Yeah. I think working from home helps me focus a lot, because if I go to the office, I might be distracted by some drama. It's good for me to go because we can, talk about our upcoming listings. We can kind of get in this mindset. So I do like to check in every now and then. But there are times when I'm like, okay, no, I need to focus, and I just need to,
for me, I come in the office, but I keep my door closed all day. And I know you guys have more like open concept.
Right. We can't escape from anything.
Yeah. Like you have to go into like that secret room. You guys call it the room. What do you guys call it? The vault?
Right. The vault. Yeah. So it's like, which doesn't actually like close. You can't close it because then, but.
Yeah, I mean, I always say...
So we don't really have any sort of personal space. We can't. It's a little bit tough to do that. So, and you never know who's going to be in the office that day. Yeah. So it's a lot of times it's random where, you don't know who goes in. You kind of know who's consistent, so you kind of have an idea of who you're going to see. But
maybe like the marketing team or your broker of record or someone that might be in there. But
like the staff is there every day. And in terms of the agents, we just like, depending on who's, the people stop by. So I would say an average of maybe like 4 or 5 agents might be on there.
That makes sense. For me, I call it tunnel vision. I have to get in focus where like I can't let stuff get in the way. So I keep my door closed. I almost have to be, I don't want to say antisocial, but I usually have 5, 10, 25 hours to work on a day where I can't just be like, hey, let's chat. How was your weekend? I'm very like minimal where I'm like, nice to see you, and I get to it. Right. So, open concept is tough, but your office is so cool.
I would be that every day. So that's why sometimes I have to keep myself away. Like I really am super chatty, of course,
Yeah.
which makes me good at sales.
Yeah, it
But
does.
then I'm going to spend my whole day chatting there. I have ADHD, so sometimes I need to like have
Focus,
specific focus. Like, and I have to say, okay, this is what, I have to have a specific
Sure.
environment or,
Yeah.
no other thing. So, I kind of have to learn how to balance it.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I think with your office too, it is such a destination. Like you have a cool bar and a coffee setup. You have a gym.
Yeah.
It's just the lights. It's very inspiring. It's like the way the desks are set up. You have like the motorcycle. It's just cool. It's very. It's almost staged to perfection, I think. So it gets those creative juices flowing. You have like the wine area per se in the back, because I've been there a few times.
Yeah.
There's always parking, which is nice as well.
Yeah.
Some offices, if you're in like West Hollywood, you might have to park and like walk like 10 minutes. It's
so
per se.
it's definitely it's easy access, easy neighborhood to like hang out in, to go grab some lunch or anything. So it is definitely like a good place to be.
Cool.
But it is like a destination. People are always walking by, taking photos, trying to get a tour.
Yeah.
I've actually got some clients by people that are walking in.
I was going to say floor time might be big. Like I was thinking, because I'm always like which we can talk about offline, but like.
It usually, right. I would say it's usually people that maybe just want to come and check it out because they love the show. But somehow I always have this luck when I go in the office. It happened twice, where I go in the office and somebody comes in and you never know. It just might be somebody wanting to, wanting to say hi. And they said, oh, I would like to list my house.
See, I think Jason talked about it on the show where like he had
that was actually me.
That was you.
That was me, and everybody was very upset because I had just stopped by in the office really quick, and I'm not there all the time.
Yeah.
And some people are there every single day, all day, and they got very upset with it. And
the harder you work, the luckier you get. We should actually take that one. We'll take it offline because I think you are so prime. Maybe we try to kind of lead clients in, make it inviting if it's okay with your broker and everything, because. I mean, people could just be walking through. You could almost look at like the analytics of how many cars drive by.
Right.
It's a lot. I want to say it's 5,000, 10,000 a day. That's probably wrong, but it's a lot.
Right.
Or maybe we have something that it's marketing. Everyone knows that office. It literally is the gem of Protomart. It's right in the middle of
everybody knows it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll come back to that. And I also want to thank you. We did a deal that you referred to me about 4 months ago, that close. So thank you.
Yes,
for
thank you.
I've known
That
you
was great working with
5
you.
years.
I feel like it was like you always want somebody that's as detailed, or you want somebody who's going to handle your clients just the same. So it was great. Yeah, they were so happy.
I'm so glad we got a deal done. More to come.
Yes, more to come.
So I think it's gonna be a good year. I mean, what are you guys seeing? It's February 15th, 16th right now in the weekend. We just finished Valentine's Day. It's still early in the year. We have a new president. Interest rates are kind of a question mark. Inventory is kind of a question mark. You work obviously in a lot of areas, but kind of what's the mindset of your office for what this year holds versus the forecast of home values or just any general tips? Because you guys have access to obviously the minds of Jason and Brett per se, and some of these other top producers. And what are you hearing? What are you seeing?
Jason always has, I feel like he always has some sort of an amazing like strategy for whatever's happening in the market. Like when we talk to him and maybe everybody's, feeling these like negative, feeling insecure about what's going on in the market, if interest rates are high or sales may have slowed down a little bit. Like a lot of times he'll come up with like, here's, a strategy. So it feels like it's not just, something empty, being positive, like, let's go get some more sales. But here's how we can provide a value to our clients. Here's what our clients need from us, or here's why it might still be valuable, or here's the strategy that you can use in to get your clients the best deal at this time. So, or here's what you can suggest to them. For instance, like, if interest rates are high, here's what they can do in the future, when they buy now. Like, I know we educate clients on that all the time about, when refinancing and how much it's going to cost down the line, or examples of clients that have done that, or when the interest rates did go down. I had a client when the interest rates went down that had just bought 3 months before, but it was worth her refinancing. So it's like those stories, and he has a lot of experience with those kind of things, and, giving us examples of like, here's how,
I love that. I mean, there's always a way to approach it. I think this year is going to be great for those that really, really work hard. But what we say matters. Like what I say matters. I always kind of have a coaching mentality. Doing this for 20 years, I've closed over 4,500 loans, close to 5,000, where, I just have that experience of like, if rates are high, fantastic. There's less competition. There's less buyer competition. There's less other realtors. Like, we've seen a lot of people drop out. I think there was 1.6 million realtors or something. It's way less.
Right.
There was 425,000 licensed loan officers in 2021. There's like 100,000. So you have to kind of see the bad or the tougher as a good, and I think it's going to be a good year. And obviously we live in the Newport Beach area where I do loans all over. I got a referral this morning in Utah, but each area is different, but I think overall it's going to be a good year. I think the fundamentals of buying are still there.
Right.
They really are.
And I feel like when you have, as a group, when you have like, you're knowledgeable and you have, great strategies for your clients, marketing, everything, like the business is still going to be there.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's going to change a little bit, and that's, the reality of it. But, if you know what you're doing, we're always going to have clients.
If you provide great service and good energy and you listen to your clients, maybe they're not buying today, they're going to buy, do something. I read the other day that 8% of people in your phone are going to move within 12 months. It's those little things that kind of change your mindset right away. People still have to move for various reasons, like those various diamonds of real estate, death, divorce, deployment, all those different things. People don't they don't need to move, they have to move. And so it's going to happen. And I think there's deals to be had. It's kind of a buyer's and seller's market in a sense right now.
Right.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to partner with great people like yourself.
Same.
I think it's going to be a good year. So it's coming into March. In my opinion, it gets a little warmer. You get some cold days, warm days. Do you guys have any fun events, anything big, any trips planned for work, anything cool happening in the next couple of months as we approach spring?
I feel like, probably season 4 will probably be, it's just announced, it'll probably be filming. So we probably have like a lot of events.
So some advice to events. So make sure you invite me to some cool events. I want to go.
A lot of events do happen in the spring and summer months. I feel like it was a little bit slow. It slows down during the holidays. Of course, we have Christmas walk, we have all of that, and then and then it comes back. We do always constantly have a lot of broker opens, Twilight broker opens, so things like that. But then we also have like last minute things that come up, like I never know what my week's gonna be like or my day. I wake up in the morning thinking I know what my day is. I'm gonna have regular day. I'm gonna work from home, and then before I know it, I'm 3 showings, a lunch, an event. Sometimes you
just have to be nimble and ready to go. It's like, I'm on it, let's do it now. That sounds like my world. That's kind of consistent with my day. Tell me about, I'm a big person with like routines, like morning routines. Like, I'm super regimented, kind of like military in a sense, because I'm just up at the same time and it works. People can find me. I'm like a machine, but
I know. I always find you. I always know what. I
respond in like 3 minutes. Like, I'm just like on it. I get up the same time.
Even on the weekends.
I'm pretty
Even
fast.
On the weekends, a lot of times I have a client or I have somebody that's
I'm like,
a question.
I'll call right now. 1 minute. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I call the 3-minute response time. I literally try to respond in 3 minutes. I know I've been on for 15 minutes right now, but we're gonna get to it in a second.
Yeah.
But I don't want to miss things. I want to be there for somebody. Like, if I have to almost look at who I hire. If I'm hiring someone to cut my hair, do my landscape or whatever, I can't wait 3 days to hear back. I just have to kind of get that off my plate. So I want people to have that same experience. And we always want to do what we can control. Can't control rates, inventory, another buyer coming. We can control how hard we work. We control what time we get up in the morning. Walk me through your day. Like, are you really organized with what time you get up? I know you probably work out, I assume.
I don't actually.
You don't work out?
I don't work out.
That was just a guess. I don't know. So walk me through kind of your day on a normal day, like a Monday or Tuesday.
There is no normal day. There definitely is not a normal day. I usually will, depending on, I would say we work a lot around our client schedules too. So sometimes we will have, showings don't really go that late. A lot of times maybe it's events that go a little bit later. But I usually get started around like 8:30 or 9 o'clock. And then check my email, wake up, check my email from bed. So it's like, I like that flexibility of like, okay, I can just go immediately on my phone, see what's going on. When I do have like, escrows open, multiple escrows, we have, escrow companies are starting exactly at 9, need something from me. So I need to make sure like I'm on it at that time, because they're very, work that very mostly 9 to 5, preferably they prefer to work 9 to 5. So they, so we have to be on it for that. But sometimes I just don't even know where my day's going to go. Like, I check in with clients and a lot of times they'll say, yes, I want to see this afternoon. Or, I have to go run to LA. I have to, schedule 3 or 4 showings. So as I always say, when people are getting into real estate, like, you have to be comfortable with that. You can't be like, if you want to be regimented, you can be a lender because you can control a little bit more of your schedule. But when you're in real estate, you just have to be that. And I feel like my personality is like that in general, where it's just like, I'm, it's
almost like designed for you. It's almost designed for you because you're so outgoing, so likable, so charismatic, where I think it fits you really well with what you do. I think you found a perfect fit for you.
Right. I like to be spontaneous. It's almost like I feed off of that energy of being spontaneous or not knowing what my day is going to be like. And a lot of people, it gives them anxiety to not know what their day's like, or to not know how much money you're going to make this month. And I don't, and I always say my brain works like very weird, where I'm okay with that. It's really weird to be that kind of person that's okay with uncertainty and okay with just like, okay, this might be really good, but it might be really bad. And I like the possibility of like, it might be really good though. So I think that's what keeps me going.
Keeps you hungry, keeps you sharp. So let me see. So I'm kind of curious to know too. So you've been at Openheim Group for about 3 years, 4 years, in that range. Where do you see yourself in, let's say, 3 years, 5 years? Tell me about yourself. Do you see yourself, it sounds like you don't want to leave Orange County. You love where you're at, maybe business, personal, anything else. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to do? Like, maybe draw that out because I'm curious.
Right. I would say, every time I have a plan, it never actually, and that's the part that I'm always okay with. It never actually goes as planned. Like, it's always just this anticipation over like, what's life going to throw at me? So then I feel like, I would say I probably, as of now, I probably will still be at O Group. You never know. But I plan on staying there. Maybe just getting, just constantly improving. I mean, I like to constantly be improving, constantly, more deals, more listings, more, just dive deeper into the luxury space, but also, I like to balance it. I like to work with first time buyers. I also like, I like to stay connected with all levels of real estate.
So you're kind of a one-stop shop. Like if someone wants to buy a condo for $500,000 or for $1 million, you're good.
That's actually a misconception of us, that people think that we don't do any of those deals, that we don't have time for them. And I've had friends actually say, "Oh yeah, I just bought a house." And I'm like, you didn't call me.
Is that your only luxury or something?
Oh, you're so busy. Like you have a $7 million listing. You have a $14 million listing. You don't have time for me.
Yeah.
And I do.
No,
It's like,
you want to do every deal.
Yeah.
No.
And I'm like, I would have been honored to do it. So yes, I'm honored to do every deal, and honored to like. Or people get surprised when we work with like, well, how do you think we get those listings that are the new constructions and new builds?
Yeah.
A lot of times we found an off market that was a house that was falling apart, and people think like, wow, you were on that deal. You were on a deal for $500,000 of a house that was falling apart. And I'm like, that's real estate. Real estate includes all
I always say that.
ranges.
I say that. I think I talked about it last time I was on here. I talked about a deal where I met a lady that wanted to do a deal. I think it was in Victorville or like Hesperia, and nobody would help her. And she like went to her bank and they just wouldn't call her back. And this is a long time ago. And it was a $72,000 loan. And I was doing pretty well. It was probably 2015, let's say. I was pretty established and took the time, took the call, closed her deal. She was so grateful. She had to pay off some debt and just do some stuff. And it led me to her son. She said, someone wants to buy a home. Come to find out, he was a prestigious doctor in Newport Beach, buying for, I think the loan was $3 million. And it led me to, from that $72,000 deal in Victorville, in the Victorville area, to like $40 or $50 million in closings. Wow. So there's chapters, like Josh Altman has one in his book called Kick Every Football the Same, where you treat everyone the same. He talks about doing a deal, not to talk about other agents, but like I'm the same way. I mean, we call them like gateway deals, where I'll do a line of credit, because who are they thinking about when they want to buy their next house? Their neighbor, their parents, their brother. They're thinking about you. Every deal leads to more deals. Clients lead to clients, closings lead to closing. So that's very good to share though, because it's like you do have that high net worth prestige, but like you want to help everybody. It's joy.
And we actually like doing that, and we actually like helping our family and friends. Yeah. And so it's weird, like, it's a little bit disappointing when sometimes they say those things, and it was like, wow, I guess that maybe I don't even talk about it as much, or maybe I don't remind them that I would want to help them in any price range, or in an area where they think I don't cover. Like I've covered things in Riverside County and San Bernardino County and LA. So a lot of people think that I just stick to Newport, Beverly Hills only. So yeah, I'm willing to do whatever
territory,
it takes.
just so everybody can hear, like you're open to San Diego, Riverside, Ventura,
of course.
Any price point works for you.
Yeah, so I go where the client goes, and I'm so familiar with so many different areas. So I always lived in Southern California my whole life, so I know all of those areas. I used to think like, when I was younger, I thought I should have moved to New York at least for a year. I've done something like that, and I didn't realize that it was just going to be such an asset for me in real estate, because now I'm so familiar with all those different areas that I'm so specialized in Southern California. So they can name a city and I know where it is. You can name anything, and I'm like, okay, so I don't know a lot of people that are that familiar with an area because they've moved around a lot.
See, I'm the same way. People always make fun of me because they'll be like, "Hey, do you know the city?" I'm like, "Yes, yes." Right away. It doesn't matter where it's, because I do mortgages, like all over. It doesn't matter. That's one thing that I love, which is kind of what you're saying too, is I love the fact that I can work with a doctor, a dentist, a school teacher, like a janitor, all in the same day within the same hour. Yes. I love that I get to meet everybody because I find out about them. I really find joy in finding out people that have a family. It's their first house, it's their last house, it's their kid's house. I love that. Yeah. And I think if we have passion, we're obsessed with helping everybody, it makes us stand out. People don't have that. They don't have that real zeal and zest where they're like, hey, I'll ask them, even to people in my office, or I should say colleagues in other offices, hey, I got a client, like I'm busy on Saturday, can you call them? They're like, I'll be like, yes, when can I do it? Because I want to just get on it and help them. And I feel like you're kind of that way.
Yeah, definitely. Like always, it's like, we're built for that, to be like, okay, we are motivated for it. We want to help clients. We want to do that. And the way I see it too is like everybody, no matter what price point or what area, everybody's human. And like, I think you do the same, where everything's the same to us. Like we treat everybody in the same way. It doesn't matter the price point. We're always going to treat everybody and dedicate ourselves 100% to them, no matter what it is. Yeah. Like even right now I have a listing in Menifee, a small listing in Menifee for a family member.
So Hemet, kind of, I know the area very well.
So I have that, and then I'm also on I was also the other day on a listing appointment in Harbor Island. Yeah. So people go like, wow, there's such a range of things, and honestly, it keeps it exciting.
I think that's great. I think that's great, because you also brand yourself. Maybe if someone in your office doesn't want to go to certain areas, and that's okay.
Right.
You can almost be like that one person. Maybe they have something where they're focused, where you can kind of be like a go-getter for all these areas.
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing. I think, and then also like your clients that are buying for $300,000, they're the ones that are going to buy for $700,000 in 3 years, and $1 million in 4 years, because they go to move-up markets. They call them Henrys, which is homeowner not yet rich yet.
Yeah.
So you have to start small with your clients. Not small, but you have to start where they're comfortable.
Right.
But then that client is going to grow in their career over time. So it's just one of those things that it's just good business, and it's the right thing to do. Like I love it. I'll help anybody. Yeah. That's great to know. So I know you talk about college a lot, USC in your college days. Tell me a little bit about your college experience.
College experience. Okay, so I went to, for undergrad, I went to Cal Poly Pomona, majored in PR, and then I did grad school at USC. Cool. Also, I have a master's in communication management. I got that while I was a publicist. I was actually a publicist before I was.
That's what I want to hear about. That's
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked about it before, but not much. But that was I always call it my past life.
Yeah. So I used to go to USC games. A lot of my friends went there. My cousin went there. My dad had business partners there. Some of the funnest days I ever had were the USC tailgates.
Oh yeah.
They're always a good team. They're always like, me growing up in Southern California, they're the one team I would always root for.
Yeah.
I actually grew up with Carson Palmer. He was a quarterback and a Heisman Trophy winner.
Oh yeah, that's right. I think we talked about it before.
So I played basketball with him. Then he played pro football. His brother Jordan Palmer also played pro football. So I grew up with the family a little bit and playing competitive sports.
Right.
Played on a traveling basketball team. So I watched him. I knew Matt Leinert's brother, Ryan Leinert. Yeah. And so just crossing over in that world. But I know you're a big Trojan fan.
Yes,
right?
Yes, of course. And I'm on the board. I'm actually on a couple boards for USC alumni in Orange County. It's the biggest population of USC alumni on the planet.
Really?
So it's really fun to be connected. And I plan a lot of the events. So yeah, I've always been in that sort of, I love events, of course. And so I plan a lot of those. So sometimes we'll do stuff with, the law school alumni, the business school alumni.
And that's great networking and just meeting the right people. So from college and getting your MBA, you went into like PR work, right? I want to hear about that.
I was actually already working in PR at the time. So I was a publicist. I worked for a company that did PR and production. So that kind of was such a natural fit for me when it came to Oppenheim. Like I'm just so used to being around all of it.
Yeah.
So I did entertainment PR. So usually what I describe it as when you see, people on the red carpet. And I know at that time it was even, with those entertainment shows were even a lot more popular way back when I was doing it.
Yeah.
So I worked a lot with bigger brands like Universal Music, Maxim, Victoria's Secret, Anastasia, a lot of those.
That's a really natural kind of fit into like a PR role of what you're doing, going into real estate. So what got you into real estate from the PR world? Was it someone you met? Was it just seeing it where you just wanted to be into it? I mean, what was kind of your story to transition there?
Actually, so my ex before my last, we would actually watch $1 Million Listing. And he said, I was a publicist, and he said, I think you would be really good at that. You should do that. And he pointed to $1 Million Listing, which was really funny because I did end up getting my license, and I said, you know what, I need to know how to buy a house. Anyway. Let me get a license. At that point, I had my own company, and I was freelancing for a lot of the major PR firms. And I went into it, and once I got my license, I was like, well, I mean, why not? Let's try this. And within 3 months, I think I made a small appearance on $1 Million Listing. So he didn't mean...
I saw you. That was when you were on with Ryan Sierra.
Yes, I
Ryan
was on
Sierra when you worked at Nest.
Team.
That's when you were at Nest Seekers.
Yes.
In the Santa Monica, there was like kind of a high-rise condo. That's how much I watch real estate shows, by the way.
Right,
know
and
the
you
actual
remember
episode.
all of them.
I remember
all the details.
Sorry, I remember it. So I do. And so, I mean, that's exciting though. I mean, that's like a perfect transition because what you learned in school, going to a great college, actually 2 great schools, then into the PR world, and then getting into real estate. But what a cool story too. So when you're watching $1 Million Listing, a real estate show, it's not just for the agents and clients, it's also people wanting to get in the business. And I think it has made it so popular. Yeah. Because people want to do what they do. They want to do what you do.
Right. Because we showcase what we actually do, and we showcase that, you can do it in so many different ways. You can sort of make it your own. You can be a traditional realtor, or you can be, on this side. And I think it was funny. The intention was to be a realtor, not necessarily to go on a show. And it ended up happening just naturally. Yeah. And it ended up, transitioning to, naturally working with Oppenheim. I didn't even seek it out. I just, ended up meeting everybody and becoming friends with everybody before.
See, I'm learning a lot about you. I think it's really cool. I'm seeing, because I didn't know all this. I've known you 4 or 5 years, but to see like from way back when in college, all your transition, I'm actually really inspired. It's pretty cool. I have a quiz for you. Okay. So I watch a lot of real estate shows. One is, I have a question and a quiz. So number 1 is, for you, would you prefer $1 Million Listing LA or $1 Million Listing New York? And why?
I would say LA. Yeah. LA for sure. Because I just have such a love for LA still. Like I know a lot of people, especially everyone in Orange County is all about Orange County. They don't love LA. I still will always have like a special place in my heart for LA. Yeah. So like you said, when you watch a show and you see all of the places that you've been, you see your own neighborhood on there. Like it still feels great to be able to see that. So LA all the way.
I would say LA as well. I do like New York because you get to see different architecture. Right. It's way different because you see high rises and it's changed so much. If you link up season 1, when Howard Lorber's son Michael Lorber was on it, then they went to Luis season 2, and then Steve Gold got added to the show. Right. Sorry, I'm such a real estate nerd. And I actually met Steve Gold. I flew to New York with an old team of mine. I flew to his office when he was at town. He was great. He was just like he is in person. Steve Gold is obviously, right? Yes. And he's fantastic. I believe he's closed over $3 billion now, I read, so he's up there. But yeah, I think it helps to have that passion. People say that to me. Like, I know a lot about it. When someone says, in my local market, they don't know a realtor, they don't know this, I kind of like frown on it. I'm like, you have to know this stuff. You have to know what other lenders don't know. You have to stand out. If other people know it that aren't even in our industry, you have to know more than them. You can't always have your clients teaching you stuff you should know. This is our business. It'd be like having a doctor that you say, hey, there's a new technique, and he's like, I don't know anything about it. They're not passionate enough. Right. I need them to really be in it. I always say that I'm working even when I'm not working. Like I'm always just trying to improve. And watching real estate shows isn't exactly mortgage, but there's correlation. Right. There really is. And so thank you for sharing. I would say, again, LA as well, but I like New York as well. It's just because this is different architecture.
It's something different. It's cool. Something that maybe we're not, getting to see every day. Yeah.
I agree. And then I have a quiz for you. So there's $1 Million Listing New York, $1 Million Listing LA. Were there ever any other $1 Million Listing cities filmed?
Miami.
Correct. There's Miami. What was the other one?
Oh, San Francisco.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah.
I didn't even quiz you on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was one season in Miami and one in San Francisco. I actually did a loan for one of the San Francisco agents, personally, which loved the guy.
Yeah.
His name was Justin. Great guy. About probably like 6 months ago.
Okay.
So got to work with him, got to meet him in person. But that's great that you know that.
Yeah.
And there's
I
other
watched them back then. Yeah, I think I watched them.
Yeah, so you did. So that's a really good answer, by the way.
I don't remember every detail like you do, but
I remember a lot. Yeah,
but
I remember a lot.
I remember watching those shows. Yeah, and they only lasted, I think, each of them for like one season,
year.
maybe two, but I think one
It was
season.
1 year, yeah. And I actually still follow some of those people that were on the show. Some of them have really continued to progress, which is a great launching pad, being on the show and having the following and everything. So tell me about your pet. I know I talked a little bit about my dog, which I'll share as much as I can. Still a little fresh with him going to doggy heaven about 2 months ago.
Imagine.
It was really hard because he was the most stable thing in my life to be at. A few mortgage companies, just the changes we have in an 8-9 year span, it's the one thing that was stable with different relationships or teammates or what have you. But what is your dog to you? Because people love their pets today. Tell me about your pet.
I mean, I'm one of those that calls my dog my son. So I'm like the same. Yeah. And you're right. It's the thing that's like the most stable. Like relationships come and go.
Friends come and go.
Friends come and go. We change different brokerages. We work with different people. And we have that consistency of our pets that, that are like our children. And for me, I don't have any children. So it's like that feels like, I have such this bond and this responsibility to take care of him. He's about to be 14 years old.
14?
He's about
wow, that's incredible.
But, he thinks he's 5. I tell him he's 5. So we have that where we have a young vibe.
That's
so
really
he does.
cool.
So right now he's doing well. I just, sometimes when I think about it though.
You'll be okay. I mean, 14, I always say, like my last dog passed away when he was 8.5, which was a little sudden. He was very young looking. But like if I would have got to age 12, 14, and I had a Rottweiler, so he's a bigger dog. So bigger dogs don't live as long in general. You have these one-off cases, but come find me when you have that moment because it was hard. And it was really hard. Like I couldn't talk about it 2 months ago, but you'll be okay. I mean, hopefully it lives to be 20.
We get, hopefully it's going to be 20. We get past it, but we don't even want to like think about it. We don't want to because it's just, it's family member. It's like you're even around them more than you're around your family members. So
I saw statistics that it's harder to have a pet pass away than your own like immediate family.
Right.
And again, I'm not saying like that's the case, but you don't see parents or siblings as much as you do your dog because everyone's so busy.
Right.
And obviously we all love our families so much, but you're with your dog every day and they just depend on you. It's like unselfish love.
Yeah, that like bond that you have every single day and you just know how to communicate with each other. Like I always say that I've known him for almost 14 years. I know what he's trying to tell me. I know what he's saying. So if somebody goes, "Oh, I think your dog's hungry," and I'm like, "No, I know what he's saying."
I had that too.
Like,
yeah. All right, what else did we go over? That was really good because it personalizes it. You can like actually put that on like a dog site or something and probably get a lot of people.
Oh, nice, yeah.
I've seen realtors brand themselves as like the dog lover and stuff.
Right.
And
the people who are obsessed with their dogs love it,
So knowing that you are at the Openheim Group and it is arguably one of the most prestigious brands in the world, it's synonymous with luxury in real estate. When you get a luxury client, someone that's on TV, super high net worth, how do you approach that? Is it different than someone that's just maybe has a basic job? I guess everyone's different, but I'd love to know what that looks like.
I feel like my approach to each client, of course, it's like how we were saying, we give it our all like to every single client, no matter how well known or not known or more of a private person. With celebrities, I feel like they want to be treated like a regular person, of course. So you do that, but a lot of times you have extra team members involved or business managers, and you a lot of times have more people involved. But they always value their privacy, of course. So sometimes that's tough. I know a lot of realtors get like very excited to work with a celebrity client or an athlete, and they want to tell everybody. So we a lot of times can't share because somebody could look up our sales and say, "Oh, she just sold that. That was to this person." So a lot of times we don't want to share. We don't want to share at exactly the time we worked with them. So sometimes I might 10 years later say, "Yes, I worked with that client 10 years ago." But we don't want to give out so much information. There's some clients that would have a signed NDA. Some that don't, and some that are very open, and some that would recommend us to everybody and openly tell everybody that we were their realtor.
That's so true because I work with clients too that are celebrities that are on TV shows. We have one right now we're doing that was on Bravo, and so we have people. I've done pro football players, pro baseball players, just people on TV, and like they're all different. Some of them are really, I mean, they're all great. They're all amazing. But some of them, like kind of like you said, they're more open to like, I don't care. Tell anybody you want. I'm like, are you sure?
They're like, oh, use it if it helps you get business.
Exactly. They really are. And the other times, like, I never speak to them. Like I've done a couple actors that are, I won't even say who, but that are pretty big actors. I never talked to them one time.
And you always talk to somebody, one of the representatives.
Business managers or whatever it is. And they don't make any of their own decisions. They're great. They're the talent. They're doing what they do. I'm just always grateful in those moments. I'm always like, I get excited because I feel like
it's something that's kind of cool. Isn't that kind of cool? And I have a lot of experience working with celebrities, of course, as a publicist. So I already know how it goes. And a lot of people say in the real estate side, because sometimes, you have to see them in person, so it's like a lot of realtors will say, oh, I want to work with a celebrity. I know how. Yeah. And they're taking pictures with them. Asking for an autograph. Like, we can't do that. And naturally I don't, because as a publicist, I met so many A-list celebrities. I worked with them, throughout my whole career. That was like 15 years. Mm-hmm. So it's almost natural for me to be able to work with them and know how to, to me, it's common sense just because this is what I lived. And, keeping their information private or, how to treat them, how to act around them. All of that. But it's always fun. It's always fun, especially when somebody,
it's really fun. Like I become a fan.
One of your favorite shows, it's like, I always say that no matter how many I've met or how many years I had even been doing PR, it's always kind of cool to like,
it is cool.
At one point it was like really cool. I was at a party with Britney Spears in like 2007 and I thought, it reminds you of your childhood. So
that is cool.
Thinking like, wow, you feel, everybody feels a connection to some kind of, person because of your childhood. It reminds you of something. Yeah. And so, of course you have to admit it's pretty cool, but I have to, act appropriately. Yeah. But admit that it is pretty cool and interesting to work with those.
See, I treat everyone because for me, I worked at a bank for a long time. And so I'm very private. Like some people think like, hey, is this going to go anywhere? I'm like, no, because we have to securitize everything. But when I meet them in person, whether it's someone on one of your shows, I get pretty excited. I'm kind of like, hey, I know who you are. I get like excited because that's just my nature. I think they appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I become even more of a fan. I'm already a fan if you're in real estate or if you're on TV, but like we did a deal for someone that was in Top Gun 2. Won't say who. But now I'm like a fan of him. Like, what's his next movie? I'm talking to him. I'm wanting to like drive people to his movies because I become a raving fan.
Right,
I want to
because
help
now
them.
you know them as a real human and as a person that's not just, what you see on TV. Yeah. And so now, you feel like more support towards them.
And most are so cool too. Like I did a deal for a guy on Top Gun 2, like I said, and one of the most amazing people, a pro football player that played on the Chargers. So nice. Just like whatever helps you. I'm like, it's just so, it's awesome.
So it's like fun and exciting. And it's funny. Sometimes like I'll post something and one time I posted, I was at a concert. And so one of the agents commented like, oh, you're always out. Why aren't you more focused on, door knocking and cold calling? And I said, I was at a concert. My client was with my client or something. Yeah. And they said, oh, you go to concerts with your clients. I'm like, no, my client was performing.
That's
like,
cool.
I wanted to support my client. Yeah. I mean, they support me. I support them. They invited me. So I think sometimes, to people that could look like, oh, you were just out having a great time. I'm like, no, I'm interacting with my clients. I'm supporting their craft.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and was it fun? Of course.
Of course you want to have fun. You want to
so
support
of course
them.
We had a video. We were dancing. We were having so much fun.
They're probably jealous, because they didn't get invited to a cool thing.
Exactly. And maybe, it's a more traditional person of like, oh, I get my business door knocking and cold calling. I'm like, well, that was my world before. I was in PR. So I have a lot of contacts. I still have a lot of contacts with, managers, business managers, agents, other publicists that, and they refer me clients. So I'm like, okay, why not? That's fun.
Well, I love that you have so much fun in the business and you're doing so well. I think to summarize, like I learned a lot about you today. I feel like we can do more now just based on me knowing more about your education, your PR work, kind of just, in my head, I'm thinking about how do we use the love for pets? How do we use like our joys and passions and how do we drive more business? And of course, most importantly, help more people. So I'm excited to talk to you after this and grow our business. It's going to be a great year. We got a long way to go. We're both young. I'm a little older than you, I think, but that's okay. We're both young.
Not. I think we're the same.
Yeah, we're pretty close. And so I'm excited. We want to thank you for coming on. I mean, to be here with you from the Openheim Group and just hear your story, I really appreciate it. I'm sure everyone else does as well. And so what's next for you in the next coming weeks? Do you have anything big for this year? Anything kickoff stuff or anything?
Hopefully a couple of really good listings coming up. So that'll be fun.
So let's do an event. If we have any events, I want to go. If you need a mortgage partner, I'll be there to help cater it and just be a part of the event and support
that'd
you.
Be perfect. It would be so fun. Yeah, I
Okay.
feel like so. Hopefully, yeah, a couple of really, really good ones that are in the works.
Okay.
And hopefully launching those, and then of course, just staying active.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to have you back. We'll stay in touch, obviously, and if you have any questions for Jen Castaneda at the O Group, let us know. We'll let you know where to find her. She's here to help for all your real estate needs. Myself, James, and McKibben, the Line of Loans for all your mortgage needs. Been doing this for 20 years. I love it. I'm gonna work today. It's Sunday, and if you have any questions, reach out. Let's get back to work. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, my pleasure.
Yeah, this is fun.
James McKibben on the mic, steady cross the globe. Lion of Loans got them stories untold. 50 states deep, he confides with pride. He'll line step, make that mortgage coincide. Roll with James, all deals intact. Loans hitting harder, that's a fact. From coast to coast, his name revered. In the finance jungle, there's nothing he fears. Mortgage myths, James cutting through clean. Podcast crown, he the financial king. Listeners.